Yo, Mario just got another one. Big, strong linebacker with a little swagger. Welcome to the U, Marcellius Pulliam.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Alex Donno, your host. I'm a University of Miami alumnus, longtime South Florida sports radio vet, and contributor to allhurricanes.com. And thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen today. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. How about this? A Saturday night commitment. University of Miami has landed the verbal commit from three-star linebacker out of Sandy Creek High School in Tyrone, Georgia, Marcellius Pulliam, or it might be Marcellus. There's an extra I in there, so I'm going to make sure I talk with the young man at some point, make sure I'm pronouncing his name correctly. But Pulliam is the newest Miami Hurricanes commit at linebacker. So Miami now, technically, they've got 5 linebackers in the class, although one of them, Caleb Spencer, who flipped last month, or actually late October, he flipped from Oklahoma, could play safety, could play star, assuming the defensive formation is the same next year. So you can look at it as Pulliam being the 4th linebacker or the 5th linebacker, depending on your perspective. I'm going to call him the 4th linebacker, and this guy doubles as a track athlete. He's having a very, very good senior season at Sandy Creek. They've still got more games to play because they keep advancing in the playoffs. So I'm looking at, first of all, I think the most important thing about Pulliam, and I think this is why Miami was recruiting him heavily, his combination of size and speed. Miami's linebacker room this year and the past couple of years has been very undersized. You've had converted safeties and even corners playing linebacker the last couple of years, and it has shown on the field and it's shown on tape. I mean, even, I give Corey Flagg a lot of credit for just how hard he works and how well overall he played this season, but he's very small. Miami's linebacker room has been very small. So when you're adding guys like Bobby Washington and Popo Aguirre and Malik Bryant, who's an absolute monster, and now Marcellius Pulliam into this linebacker group, you are trying to overhaul the size, and you're trying to make Miami's linebacking core look more like an SEC linebacking core and a little bit less like an ACC linebacking core. So Pulliam on that Sandy Creek defense, the Patriots, that's the name of that's the mascot for Sandy Creek. They're 12-2. They're going to play the next game of their state playoffs December 10th next weekend against Carver, Georgia. Pulliam this year, he's only played in 7 games. He's got 55 tackles, 4 sacks, 1 interception so far this season. And I really enjoyed watching his commitment announcement. I was just watching his live video on Instagram. And like I said in the opening, Pulliam has a little swag, and I do not mind adding that to this University of Miami team, right? I mean, how many times have we talked about guys like Popo and Ray Joseph and Robert Stafford? How they always say, we're coming in to take people's spots. We're coming in to take people's spots and people's starting jobs. And, I was just chatting earlier today with University of Miami center commit Connor Liu, who I believe is the best center in the country. And he said something. He said, see if I can, I'm going to have to paraphrase it here because I don't have it in front of me. But, he said that he wants to help bring the U back to where it was. Like, he wants to help make Miami great. And the passion and the drive that these class of 2023 guys have to come in here and hopefully turn Miami into the powerhouse that it used to be when I was growing up, into, from the time I was born in 1984, right after they'd won their first championship. And then for the first really, 19, 20 years of my life, I knew Miami as a powerhouse football team. These guys coming in want to bring the U back to that. Okay. So Marcellius Pulliam, I believe, is an awesome addition. And, I was reading something from our pal Gabby Urrutia earlier today. And just because Pulliam is coming in now, and Miami now, I'm going to say they have 4 committed linebackers in this class, doesn't mean they're not trying to add a 5th, because Miami is still actively trying to flip Stanquan Clark from his Louisville commitment. We'll see if they can pull it off or not. I mean, if he ends up sticking with Louisville, God bless him, man. Go be great. Do what you got to do. But Miami is trying to flip Miami Central's former Miami Killian linebacker Stanquan Clark from his Louisville commitment. I know that they had a presence, did Miami at Miami Central's victory the other night. Obviously, they were scouting Ruben Bain as well, who I hope and expect is going to be a Cane. So these are really, really exciting times in recruiting. But I got off on a little tangent here. So let me talk about Pulliam's swagger. That's what I was going to talk about before my brain started getting twisted like a pretzel in 100 different directions. So I was watching his announcement on Instagram Live, and he did the hat fake thing, which I love. As long as he ends up putting on the hat with the U on it at the end of it, I don't mind the hat fake thing. So the first hat that he reached for was the Georgia Tech hat, and he put it on his head. And I'm thinking, that's that. He's going to surprise. He's going to Georgia Tech, the hometown area school. But no, then he takes the Georgia Tech hat off. And then he ended up putting on, or at least faking with all the other hats. He had an Auburn hat on the table. The Auburn hat looks so clean. I could tell he's never put that one on before. Like he didn't practice with it or anything. You know, he had a Louisville hat at the table. He faked us out with that one, a Mississippi State hat on the table. And then he finally ends up putting on the Miami hat, and that was the one that stayed on his head. And he said, Cristobal, I'm coming home. Like he's coming to play for the U. You better get it ready, my friends, because this guy is another one with a chip on his shoulder. He wants to come in and, he wants to fight for playing time. And don't forget, with all these exciting young linebackers that Miami is already adding, and this was the exact quote, by the way, he said, I wanted to pull it up. He said, tell Cristobal we home, he said. So, oh, man. And so, Miami's got a class of 4, and then they could try to get a 5th linebacker in this class with Stanquan Clark if they can convince him to come or stay in South Florida, I should say, in his case. And we are obviously already very high on Wes Bassaint, who had an awesome true freshman season in Miami's linebacking core. So already with the 4 they've got committed and Bassaint just heading into his true sophomore year next year, man, I'm getting really excited about linebacker play at the University of Miami. Welcome to the U, Marcellius Pulliam. I want to talk about where Miami's class of 2023 now stands, because unless they pull more of those shenanigans with the rankings, I think at least for right now, Miami is back on top of those reptiles in Gainesville. So we're going to talk about that right after we talk about our awesome friends at BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get all the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to basketball to soccer and esports. We've got it all at BetOnline.net. I've been going through the World Cup odds every single day on there. And guys, if you love sports podcasts, and if you're watching this or listening to this, you probably do, you can find those at BetOnline as well. We are always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. So last I checked, 24/7 hadn't added Pulliam officially to Miami's class of 2023 yet, probably because they're finding, like, whose star can we take away to make sure that Florida's still a spot in front of they're trying to manipulate. And by the way, the guys at 24/7 are awesome. I kid. All right. I'm not really dogging you guys, but so I didn't see Pulliam on the class just yet. So I put him in the 24/7 calculator, right? The addition of Marcellius Pulliam, 3-star linebacker out of Sandy Creek High School in Georgia. Where would that put Miami's class? So according to my math, Miami's class on the 24/7 team score now sits at a 277.21, which would put Miami a little under 2 points in front of the Florida Gator, who are currently sitting at a 275.86. Before Pulliam, Miami was just a fraction behind Florida with a 275.74. So that's only 0.12 below. So now Miami, unless there's any shenanigans back there, Miami should be just in front of the University of Florida with one less commit in their class at this point. So quality over quantity in this case. So let's go over who Miami's got now. Cormani McClain, Miami's top-rated recruit, the cornerback out of Lakeland. Francis Mauigoa, these are the top two guys, are both 5 stars, by the way. Francis Mauigoa comes in after that, the offensive tackle. Jaden Wayne, the edge rusher, he used to have 5 stars. They took a star away from him. He's the 3rd rated guy. He's out of IMG Academy. Malik Bryant, the 4-star linebacker at number 4. Riley Williams, the tight end, at 4 stars. Ray Joseph at 4 stars. Robert Stafford, the corner, at 4 stars. Raul Popo Aguirre, another linebacker, with 4 stars. Our second newest commit now, Collins Achiampong, the defensive end. He's listed as an athlete, but he's going to be an edge rusher here at 4 stars. Robbie Washington, the wide receiver, at 4 stars. Antoine Jackson, the safety out of Dillard, at 4 stars. Then you get to the 3 stars, Antonio Tripp, Connor Liu, who I talked about a little bit. He's going to be a great center here at Miami. Bobby Washington, the linebacker, twin brother of Robbie, at 3 stars. Jackson Carver, a tight end, at 3 stars. Reed McKeska, tight end, 3 stars. Tommy Kinsler, offensive tackle. They list him as interior. He could play offensive tackle or guard, honestly, at 3 stars. Emory Williams, the quarterback. Caleb Spencer, the linebacker / safety. I think he'll probably be a safety or a star. Marcellius Pulliam, and then Frankie Tinalau. So those are Miami's, what are we at now? 21 verbal commits for the class of 2023. And I think Joshua Horton, the defensive tackle out of, why am I blanking on where he's from? I think Joshua Horton is going to be the next commit added to he's out of the state of Georgia as well. My head is just like spinning with all these players. I think he's going to be the next verbal commit. He is a verbal commit to North Carolina. It's been looking pretty good that Miami's going to flip him maybe within the next couple of days. So we're going to keep our eyes peeled for that one. So you can tell I'm a little bit delirious. It's been a long day. This is no sleep season, right? I try to do my Mario Cristobal impersonation with a couple less zeros on my paychecks, but this is no sleep season for anybody who follows college football and anyone who follows recruiting. So welcome to the U, Mr. Pulliam. He's going to add some very needed size, speed, strength, and swag to this University of Miami roster. So thank you so much for picking Miami, and thank you guys for picking Locked On Canes to get your fix on the audio podcast or on YouTube. I'm going to try to get some sleep at some point later tonight. You guys do the same, and we'll talk to you next time on another episode of Locked On Canes, part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.